Today I want to talk about a tool that became essential for my mastering workflow, MCompare. This tool is used for lots of reasons, and that's what we are gonna discover today. This channel is not about hidden sponsorship or shady reviews as many others, where every release plugin is perfect and something you have to buy. I always say what I really think. This threw away some companies from me cause they weren't just good advertising. Anyway, I don't care. I strongly believe in honesty and my purpose here is to create a safe spot for you. So if you appreciate that, a good way to show it to me and to let this channel keep going is through your support. If you want, you'll find the links in the description. Let's start by taking a look at the interface. At the top we have mid, side, left, right and diff buttons. When we engage that buttons, we can listen what we have selected. I think everything is self-explanatory, but diff may be not for someone. So this button is the differences between what you have into your DAW and what you loaded into MCompare. This function works properly and makes sense to be used when you export your mix or master. Then you may want to try some changes so you can then hear the differences between them. Then we have the advanced settings, but I'll skip the explanation cause I usually never touch it and I don't want to overcomplicate this video for no reason. On the contrary, the following filter is very useful. It's just a filter that helps us to have better focus on the selected frequencies. So in example, we can compare our song to a reference, just listening to the mid-range, low or high, so we can have a better focus listening just to the frequencies we selected. Then we have compare, blind test and generate source along everything else in the bottom. Don't worry, I'm not skipping that part, but I want instead to show you them with practical examples. Let's start with the first scenario. You are working on a song and you want to check it with a reference track. So, using the search button in the first section, you load your reference. Once loaded, you may just want to check both songs in the same section. Usually the refrain is a good place for comparisons. So to achieve that in your DAW, just place the selector in the refrain, while on MCompare you can listen and manually select the refrain, or whatever part you want to compare, of course. So now we can compare the songs. Anyway, before making any move, it's very important to compensate the loudness. Otherwise, one song is louder, so the perception is different and your decisions will likely be wrong. So an example, at this moment I don't have a limiter on my song, so it's way quieter than the reference. Do I need to manually do something? Well, there is a very handy tool I'm gonna show you right now. So with the set button, the plugin automatically matches the reference to your song. Sometimes may happen to be slightly different, even if usually works very well. Anyway, if that happens, you can always change the gain manually to have a better match. There is also another way to match the loudness, it's with the ALC. While with the first one we set a different gain, with this one the plugin constantly matches the loudness. In this scenario anyway, the first choice is highly preferred. Once the loudness is the same, you can now tweak your song to match whatever you need. And now is the time to use, if needed, the first settings I took it before. In example, you may want to listen both your track and the reference in the side only to check if you have too much information or not enough. Or just use the filter to listen the low end if your song is bass driven. This may help to quickly compare your kick and bass. This is not just very cool, but especially very useful. Let's jump now into another scenario. You have a couple of ideas on how your song should sound, so you want to try something different. In this case, you can export your song, then import it into MCompare. then you can proceed with your alternative ideas and then compare them. In this case, you want the songs to be aligned, so when you switch between your exported version and your DAW, you don't hear any different part from your song. To achieve that, just hit play, then click on sync. The plugin will automatically sync your audio, so you can now switch flawlessly between them. I made the second version very different, just to give you a cleaner listening of what's inside the DAW and what's the exported file. Anyway, usually you may want just to compare very slightly changes, but when this happens, a problem may appear. That's called bias. Let's say the latest version is the one you enjoy the most, because it's the latest. So how can you understand what's the best for real without any bias? You can now export all the different versions you made, then import them into MCompare. Then go to the blind test section, hit play and click to the numbers. Just be aware, every time you hit a number, this one randomly loads something. So in example, the number 2 doesn't always play the same file, but everything keeps changing. So you just need to listen them all till you decide which one is the best. Once you are sure, go back into the compare section and then the selected one is the one you choose. The next scenario is very interesting. Sometimes a chain may be complex, so disabling and enabling different plugins to listen to the differences is not very straightforward. Then some of them may also bring loudness differences. So if we want to listen the differences between our mix or master from a certain point of the chain to the latest one without any issue with MCompare, we can do that. In the following case, I wanted to listen the differences between the song before the loudness processing and the final product. So it's like a quick on and off between the final master and the same, but before clipping, compression and limiting. I could do that exporting the files without these effects, then do what I already showed you. But there is a better way to achieve that. We can load another MCompare where we want to listen the difference. Then we just need to set up this instance as source. Then let's go to the latest instance, select the source and match the volumes and delay. That's a great way to listen if your loudness processing is too much aggressive or if it's fine. But of course you can use it where you like, even on a single track. In example, you may want to hear how a guitar sounds with a different EQ, saturation, compression along the mix without render it. Just use two instances of MCompare with and without the chain, and voila. I'm sure there are other use cases. If you know them, write it in the comments. If you like this video, remember to give it a like. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and enable notifications too. If there is any other Melda plugin you want to know more, let me know in the comments. See you in the next one, ciao!